Okay. Good evening, everyone. It's October 29th. We are a few days from going into a little bit of a chaotic situation here. Um, Excuse me while I try to keep things rolling properly here. Excuse my hacking. All right. We are faced with a situation where we have the longest shutdown in American history ever in the 250 years of this government. This is the first time in history that the government has been shut down this long. They have voted 13 times, and the Democrats continue to vote no on opening this clean bill just so the government can open up and keep on running and taking care of everything like normal. Now, in this situation, apparently the Democrat administration doesn't know what it's doing to not only our economy, but to our American citizens. You have federal workers that have been furloughed. Some may not even get back into working. They will not receive a paycheck. Our military will not get paid, even though there was a gentleman that had donated 130, what was it? I don't know if it's 130 million or 130 billion dollars. Either way, it would have came out to like $100 per service member, which is unacceptable. Me being a veteran, I can tell you right now that is not right in any way, shape, or form. That our military and federal workers should go without working. You also have, let me have a drink here. Excuse me. You also have the aviation workers that run the towers at all these international airports across our country. I don't know about you, but I don't know too many people that would want to work if they're not getting paid. These airline traffic controllers, they're not getting paid during the shutdown. So you have a big problem with that because now you have people that will be working that are not getting paid and they're not going to be getting the proper rest that they need. Therefore, if you are flying on a plane, you're putting yourself at risk because these people in these airport traffic towers, they are they're not going to be fully alerted. So you may have on the runway or at the airport planes hitting other planes. You may even have a air collision with plane into another plane type of thing because they're not getting proper instructions as to where they're flying or what runway they have to go to or anything of that matter. You, like I say, you have military that's not getting paid properly. They will get some money, but not their full salary that they usually get. Now, this government shutdown is also going to affect SNAP benefits for over 42 million people. That's 12% of the people that live in our country. This is not a good thing because as the shutdown goes on, it not only keeps the people from getting their SNAP benefits, but it also ceases all lunch programs for children at school. Now, like I stated, there's 42 million people throughout this country that depend on the SNAP benefits. You have, similar to myself, I ended up back in 1980 in a terrible car accident. I'm lucky to be alive. I was DOA and revived and such. But after 14 years of trying to work and do what I could, after everything I went to, I ended up having to go on Social Security disability. Now, I didn't get a lot of money. I didn't get enough to even support myself to have an apartment. So I was one of them people that had to stay with family in order to get by month to month. And then I had done side jobs and full time job working to try and get back into the workforce and stuff. Well, in the meantime, I was getting some SNAP benefits, which in New York State at the time, I was getting paid very well with SNAP benefits and being disabled. I was getting like $400 a month. Now, that's well over 25 years ago. I live in Florida and I don't get close to that. As a matter of fact, I was getting, since I'm on Social Security, retirement now, I was getting like $157 a month from SNAP benefits. And then last month they gave us an increase, and I was like, oh, wow, cool. I could finally get a real month's worth of food. And then guess what? Now here I won't have the SNAP benefits for November. Happy Thanksgiving to me and all of you that receive your SNAP benefits. However, I am thankful that my healthcare provider provides me with so much for the availability for me to purchase food, medical supplies, and things of that nature. So I will still be able to get food. Not what I normally get, but I will be able to purchase some food so I won't be totally out. But here's a big problem here. People that normally get their SNAP benefits, some of them similar to myself, that's all we have to live on. We don't get enough to cover a full month. And now, since Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and them in our government cut some of the things you can purchase, it makes it even harder now to get by. You can't buy sodas. You can't buy sugary items. I mean, there's just a lot of things that you cannot purchase now with the SNAP benefits. And some say, oh, well, okay, well, you're supposed to be healthier. Well, I understand that. But how do you tell a young child that's used to maybe getting, say, a Hostess cupcake or, cookies or anything of that nature? How do you tell them you can't do that? You can't have that no more. How do you tell them you can't get a Coca Cola or Pepsi or whatever, any kind of sugary drink? How do you tell them no when they're used to getting it all the time, and then all of a sudden, boom, you don't get it at all? Because what we were supposed to be able to purchase was just about anything except for hot meals. Now you can't get hot meals and a lot of other items, ice cream, for instance, cake. Um, Even some cereals are sugary, but they're not denying that. I don't understand that, but That's the way our government works. Give you so much, but then they take so much more away, right? Now, you got a few things here that all they're doing now is basically blaming Donald Trump because they're saying, "Oh, well, there's money in their in their contingency plan or whatever the heck they want to call it, um, to cover food stamps." Well, that's only like $6 billion, and they cannot use that money for the food stamp program benefits, SNAP benefits, and they would need almost double that amount to be able to approve that program. Um, so it won't work, unfortunately. What would work is for the Democrat administration to vote to open our government again, and then the funds will be there automatically through the way things are set up through this government. And now there's a possibility that some states are trying their best to go through different ministries and such like that, that you can go to a food bank so you can get food for the holidays coming up here. The only problem with that is they've been getting hit so hard throughout this country that these ministries and food banks don't have the food. I know because I was one that went there and they didn't have hardly anything to give to anybody. As far as your church and ministries, they're basically in the same boat. People just don't have the funds to donate food to these churches and food banks. So you're still faced with the epidemic of no food for people. The Democrats were the ones years ago who pushed for this SNAP benefits to go to people. And now, what are they doing? They're going to make you starve. They would rather put $1.5 trillion toward the LGBTQ people running their stuff over in Africa and all these other countries where our money should be going to the United States citizens, not to these other countries. They want to get this money so they can take care of the illegal immigrants that are here in the United States, which is totally wrong. These people came here illegally. They are illegal. They do not have any rights at all under the United States Constitution, and they don't deserve any help from our government. So who's the one that is helping these people? Well, of course, it's the Democratic administration. You've seen what Joe Biden did. He let these people come into this country by the millions and even flew people in airplanes into our country by the millions. Why? So they could try and win elections, and so they could try and secure the White House and keep pushing their socialist, communist, mental, psychiatric patients, including themselves, in our government. Now, I'm pretty much a common sense guy. And do I think a lot of people are misusing the SNAP benefits? Yes. Because you take a lot of these women where they're spitting out kids left and right because every child they have is giving them like $150 or more in extra SNAP benefits. And they think they're now entitled to keep on getting more and more SNAP benefits as well as other programs. And the WIC program, too, as far as taking care of the infants, which is, I could see that. I mean, no child should be starving in this country. No veteran should be starving in this country. I don't believe anybody should be starving in this country. Maybe the illegal aliens that came here illegally that are getting their housing taken care of, getting free food, free cell phones, free clothes, you name it, they're getting everything for free. And what do? They're creating chaos, murdering people, stealing from people, and then they turn around and they sell stuff out on the streets that they just stole from a store so they can make profit. So they're making money on top of money on top of money. Besides, what the Democratic administration is giving these people. But yet they don't want to take care of the American people. I believe this is wrong in way too many ways, okay? These people in our government, these Democrats, I believe should not receive a paycheck. They're not opening up the government because they're trying to prove a point, but yet they're going to make you and me suffer, the American citizens. They're going to make us suffer, make us go without food. And now you're talking Section 8 as well that they are stopping. There are landlords that are being supplied by Section 8 that are already putting eviction notices out to these people that are receiving Section 8 because guess what? If these landlords are not going to be getting paid for the Section 8 housing, then they're not going to have someone stay in their apartments or houses for free. They had enough damage done to them by that bullcrap poke in the arm stuff. This is wrong on way, way too many levels, okay? The exact people that pushed these SNAP benefits for all to get are the ones now that are denying you from getting it. And also having a place to live through Section 8. Because now you're going to be evicted because Section 8, since the government's closed down, cannot give the funds to these landlords that are supplying you with a place to live. As for myself, my life is not perfect in no way, shape, or form. I live way below poverty. I live in an RV. I cannot afford an apartment to rent. Can't afford a house to rent. So us that are on Social Security that are retired, we have it pretty rough. And a lot of people don't realize that. You may think that all in all, everything is okay. But to let you know, it's really not okay. Give me a second here. I want to. Oh, commercials. This is YouTube, and we get more commercials now on YouTube than regular TV, right? But I want you people to like, subscribe, and share my channel because I'm not getting the notoriety like everybody else gets. I mean, there's people that are getting 1,000 subscribers within a couple of weeks. And I've had this channel on and off for uh, a few years, and I only have a couple of subscribers, which is pretty sad because you look at this stuff and you go, geez, yeah, people want to be YouTubers and all this stuff and make money and all that. Well, you know what? If they're not putting this stuff out for you and they're not letting your videos get out to the public and they're hiding what you advertise and speak your opinions, then you're not getting the notoriety, and you're like me. You keep on producing these videos, but not many people are seeing the videos. It makes me wonder if it's a little tight circle where they take care of who they want to take care of. And this, this isn't free for me. I mean, I'm taking my time to broadcast this stuff on YouTube here. This is a live broadcast, but it's my time. It's my money. My time as far as doing this live stream for getting this information out to people. And I feel that it's important. So why is YouTube hiding my videos, so to speak? How come I'm not getting the notoriety? Is it because I put there's no kids allowed? Well, I put that because I don't believe that children should be having to watch this and know that their parents aren't going to be getting the assistance that they need to put food on the table for them, or for them to understand why they can't go to school and get the free lunches they used to get. Children really don't understand that. And that's why I keep it for no kids, you know. That's my way of doing things here. But still, to me, YouTube wants to hide all this information so people don't know what's going on, right? And you see, like on my TV here, there's people that are going berserk and saying that they're gonna rob the stores, they're gonna gang rush the stores and steal the food. And if they can't get into the stores, well, anybody who goes and comes out of the stores or whatever in the parking lot and brings their shopping cart out there and goes to their car, well, they're gonna steal your groceries right out of your cart, or they're gonna rob you right straight plain out, you know. And it doesn't make a difference if it's morning, noon, or night. They're threatening everybody on this. Is this right? No. So you have the Democrat administration that is actually causing more division. Um, they're trying to blame it all on President Trump, and it's not his fault. The Democrats are the ones that won't vote yes to open the government back up. So why would you blame Donald Trump when there's nothing he can do about it? The Democrats have to vote yes to reopen this government. If they don't vote yes to reopen this government, then guess what? We, the American people, are the ones that suffer. So here you thought that the Democrats were had your back. They're all for socialism. They're all for this and that and everything else. Yeah, yeah, they are. They're trying to now bankrupt our country. They're taking your freedoms away that you should not be denied. No one should go hungry in this country. And that's why we had these SNAP benefits. It was not only to help the homeless, but to help like homeless veterans, to help feed children around our country. And now you're not going to have that. And what else is going to happen here? Well, now that you have people that are on Section 8 that are going to be getting evicted because of this government shutdown, now you have more people who are going to be homeless. They're not getting their monthly benefits or their Section 8 housing payments. So they're pretty much more people that are going to be homeless in this country, all because of the Democrat administration. They say they're fighting for a good cause. They want to go ahead and send more condoms and things like that to Africa. They want to go ahead and push this LGBTQ plus stuff for people in other countries. And there's a lot more. I might be able to go over a couple of things alone right in my on my Facebook page. I could read you exactly what they're if I can find it. Okay, let's see here. All right, here you go. This is why air traffic controllers and other federal workers didn't receive a paycheck. Healthcare for illegals, $182 billion. Transgender for all, $97,500,000,000. DEI abroad, $45 billion. Liberal news bailouts, $12 billion. Climate handouts, $140 billion. Activist kickbacks, $125 billion. And miscellaneous radical policies, $898.5 billion. That's 1.5 trillion in woke bullshit they want taxpayers to shell out. No, we can't have this. Why in the world would anyone want any of this to go on? Hang on a second, I keep on getting up. But why? Why in the world would you want all of our tax-paying money to go to all these other countries, but yet deny you, as an American citizen, from receiving SNAP benefits and proper housing that the government provides? The Democratic administration is doing all of this against the American citizens. Now, I think this is pretty sickening, if you ask me. You got Chuck Schumer, who did a little bit of a newscast a while back here today, stating that it was all Trump's fault because he's not getting the food stamps opened up. Well, he can't. The dumbass ought to know better than that, because you need so many billions of dollars to pay out for the the SNAP benefits. You need so many billions of dollars to cover Section 8 housing. They don't have enough money right now to cover that. And like I stated, the government is trying to work with states to allow them to provide, say, a partial SNAP benefits payment, although they have not said anything about the Section 8 housing. So, as much as these Republicans are trying to assist with all this, the Democrats are doing nothing. They say it's their way or the highway. Well, guess what? I believe that anybody who ever votes for a Democrat again needs psychiatric care, because the Democrats that used to be 30, 40 years ago for the American people are no longer for the American people at all. They're doing everything and anything against all American people. They're the ones pushing a division in this country. They're the ones that are funding Antifa and BLM and a lot of these other radical groups, Palestinian pushers and all this stuff, Antifa. This is it's pretty sickening that they're doing anything that is anti-American in our own country. Now, to you Democrats in the administration, we the American people voted. And when we voted in the last election, we voted for Donald Trump to be our president for these exact reasons and things that are happening today. We didn't want this stuff to happen. We wanted to go back to common sense. We wanted to keep our freedoms in this country. We want to live by our Constitution and Amendment rights in this country. We want the United States of America to remain a Christian country. But what does the Democratic administration want to do? Oh, they want the Muslims to come in. They want them to infiltrate our country. They want these illegals to infiltrate our country so they can cause more murder, more theft, more beheading of people, having Sharia law blare through speakers 5 times, morning, noon, and night, so they can pray. They condemned Christians for just hearing the church bells when church was about to start, but now you got to listen to Muslim prayer 5 times, morning, noon, and night. How more un American can a Democratic administration be? They can go to other countries and they'll be down on their hands and knees for those other countries, but they won't stand and put their hand on their heart when the national anthem is being played here in the United States. They're anti-American. They're communist, socialist pieces of crap in the way I look at it. And the Republicans now are pushing for bills to get these foreigners out of our government. You're talking about Omar, Talib. What's that guy running in New York City, Mayor Ramdani? You want socialism? You want all Muslims to take over the country? Those are the people that are pushing it here in our country. And guess what? They're all Democrats. Yeah, nice, huh? Instead of you wanting to live free without your house being broken into, without people stealing from you, you want the law enforced. I want the law enforced. What are they pushing? Because it may get to the point where, guess what? If we all start carrying our weapons as we are constitutionally available to do legally, what if we start opening fire on these people, on these Muslims who are trying to say that they're going to take over our country? What if we start eliminating these people? Are they going to be calling us vigilantes? We want our country restored. We want to be able to walk down the street and not have to worry about being robbed or women raped or being beheaded. We want to be able to walk down these streets and not listen to Muslim prayer in a Christian nation. We want law enforcement. And the Democratic administration is trying to remove your law enforcement. They don't care if people are getting robbed and stolen from. I got an idea. All you people that are all for this Democratic administration, why don't you go after these Democratic politicians? Why don't you rob them? Why don't you eliminate them? You'd hear me applauding for that because they're getting what's coming to them. These people do not belong in our government anymore. And I believe term limits should be forced upon these people. Not only not being paid during a shutdown, but eliminated from our government altogether. They're causing chaos. They're causing catastrophes to the American citizens when there shouldn't be these problems at all. Now, I don't know what's going to happen with this Section 8 stuff that's going on. But like I stated, you're going to have a lot of people that are going to be homeless now throughout our country. So there's two big things that are happening here. Not only are they going to be starving because they have no food, now they're going to be without a place to live as well. And that's what your Democratic administration is doing to the United States citizens. They're making us starve and they're making us homeless and causing, of course, more division here in our country. So I don't know how you feel about this situation, but I could say one thing here. I myself have been pretty much a survivalist. Some might want to call me a prepper. And I've been that way for many, 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 many years. Even after I'd had that horrifying car accident, what little bit I did receive every month, I would always buy an extra one or two cans of soup, or one or two cans of corn, or one or two cans of vegetables, or, an extra pound of ground beef, or pork chops, or chicken, things of that nature. And when I was getting, and I'd keep them in my freezer. If I didn't use them within a month, then I'd get my canner out and I would can that food. If I didn't receive my health care card to be able to purchase food as well as medical supplies, um, I can tell you that I'd survive. There's no way that I will starve. And I don't care what anybody says about any of this. Hang on one second while I do a quick change here. Oh, I should have left it where it was at. But like I stated, I mean, just by watching these different videos on YouTube that are people complaining, oh, I can't work. I won't receive my SNAP benefits, but I don't want to work. Well, hey, you know what? When I was on disability, there was times when they had it in place that I had to put so many hours in a week to receive my SNAP benefits. And I tried it and I had a hard time and I had to get a hold of my social worker at the time. And when they found out about my disabilities and stuff, well, they had canceled that work program for me. But you have people out here that are able to work. They're just too lazy to work. And I don't know what's happened to society today. I mean, I can tell you outright that when I was born and raised At 11 years old, I worked on a neighbor's farm, pretty much like these immigrants, and I picked crops to go ahead and make some money. And the money I made, that's how I was able to purchase a bicycle. And then when I got a little older and a little bigger, I ended up working for these farmers and baling hay. And trust me, that's not easy work. You want to get yourself in good shape? Bale hay for one summer. That'll get you in shape real quick. That'll build up your muscles. But I had a father that worked two jobs. The one he was paid from, and the other one where he earned his own living that I worked with him pretty much two-thirds of my life. And it was hard work. Nobody gave me anything for free. I had to work for it. I had gotten to the point where, for some reason, my father just didn't want to pay me what he paid his regular workers. I always got a cheaper paycheck, smaller amount. Finally, I ended up going and I gotten my CDL for driving tractor trailer, and I could pull doubles, triples, all that stuff. And I did that for better than 20 years of my life. I enjoyed that job. I was pretty much my own boss, even though I'd call the dispatcher and they'd tell me where to go to get a load for my truck and all that stuff and go to my next destination and all that stuff. But I was making pretty good money and I was happy with that job because I was working within my, or should I say, within my realm of, because you know when you're driving over the road, you have to go by a logbook. You have to take so much time off, which they call as your sleeper berth, so you get your proper rest. And then you drive for so many hours, and then you'd have to take so many more hours off. So I made good money. Some jobs I made better than $1,000 a week plus leftover expenses. And back then, that was damn good money. I know I made over $52,000 a year. It was closer to $75,000 a year, and that was back in the 80s and 90s. So some people will say, well, okay, well, how come you didn't save that money? Well, I did, but I also had other things to take care of and purchase. And, as time goes on, you eventually run out of money. In this day and age, even if I would have saved more for, say, retirement, we didn't have, how should I say, a footprint of how much to save for retirement. And people who did have some kind of a goal as to how much to save for retirement, um, well, nowadays it didn't help them. The money that you saved for retirement would be gone by now because everything has quadrupled in price. So, say if you saved up $1 million, well, it's gone because you would have had to save $4 million instead of a million. I mean, that's basically how it goes. And another thing I don't understand is with these youngins today, I don't care if you're 20, 30, 40, 50 years old. If you don't want to work, I got news for you. You better find work and you better get to work because when you get to be 65 or better, 67, whatever the retirement age is going to be, when you get there, you're not going to get any retirement. You're not going to get no Social Security. You have to pay into Social Security for 40 years and even more if you want more money when you're retired. Me being injured and disabled from that car accident, that hurt me big time from Social Security. I live on a little more than $1,100 a month. And trust me, it does not go far. By the time I pay for my internet, my insurance on 3 vehicles, and my rent, and, my phone and other things like that, I'm pretty much tapped out. I couldn't afford to be in an apartment. That's like $2,500 a month. There's no way I can afford to rent a house because then again, you're talking $2,500 to $3,000 a month for rent. So I'm kind of in a dire straight situation here. I don't make a lot of money, and a lot of people I know don't make a lot of money, but they're getting by. If you have work, take it. Save money if you can. Because if you're working, you're putting money into your Social Security account. If you put nothing into your Social Security account and you're not working, well, when you get to retirement age, you're not going to have it. You're not going to get anything from Social Security. So how are you going to survive then? When you're actually too old to maneuver to work. And I could tell you, I've slowed down quite a bit because of not only my disability, but because of my age. Being 70 years old is nothing to be happy about. I'm on the downside of life now. I could or be unalive tomorrow because I'm getting older. And I've watched many, many people that I've known, gone to school with, and everything else that are no longer with us. They passed way before their time. But I don't know how I can even say that because what do you consider your time? Some people are living to be 90 to 100 years old today. Will I make it that far? Well, all I can do is hope and stay healthy if I can. I try to eat as healthy as I can, but still, these processed foods and everything else that we're getting from these supermarkets got so much chemicals and stuff in it, it's slowly killing us. And now you got the microplastics in your water bottles and such. It's another way of killing you. It's microplastics are getting into your brain cells, getting throughout your body, plugging your productive systems and your kidneys and liver and you name it. It's totally messing you up. Your body doesn't digest that stuff. What you pass through in your intestines is fine, but it also gets into your blood system. That's why it can mess up your brain. Maybe that's why so many people are going ape shit crazy today. Maybe they're drinking too many sodas and stuff out of plastic or too much water out of the water bottles. I don't know. I can't get it. I can't figure it out. A lot of these people have no common sense, and I can't figure out why not. Is it from that poke in the arm that supposedly added DNA and it's messing with your body DNA wise and making you go batshit crazy? I don't know. I never got that poke in the arm. I'm a pure blood and I'll stay a pure blood. But anyway, I'm getting a little bit off topic here, but I want to let you people know that you have to stop blaming President Trump for what's going on here with this government. You're not receiving your SNAP and Section 8 because of President Trump. You're not receiving your SNAP and Section 8 because the Democrats refuse to open this government. They want to put stuff in a bill to open this government that is not going to help the American people. So why would you try to push something in our government that doesn't help the American citizens? That's what they were voted into office for. was to work for their constituents, we, the American citizens. And instead, the Democratic administration's not doing anything for the American people. I read that list off of where that $1.5 trillion that they want is going. That's why they'll never get it approved. The clean bill that they have now, all they have to do is vote yes and try and work on those other things that they're trying to push after they get the government back open. For them to keep the government shut down, they're denying you and me, the American people, and the people that voted for them, they're denying them everything that they're supposed to be doing for you. They're denying you your constitutional and amendment rights. They're denying you food and a place to live. So think about that when voting comes around here in November. A word to the wise. I would vote for a Republican any day over a Democrat. You might say, "Oh, I like how, what the Democrats are saying and this and that, and you like socialism and this and that and everything." I'll tell you what, if you like socialism, go to China. Go to China on vacation. Just see how socialism is. Go to Somalia. Go to Africa. Go to Ukraine. Go to London. You want socialism? Communism? They're all seeing it right now. Now you can get a first-hand look. Go there on a vacation. And I hope you make it back. And I hope you change your mind. Maybe then you'll have some common sense and see and know what communism and socialism is really like. And you'll be happy to be an American, which I don't understand. After 9/11, this country was all USA and showing your patriotism towards the United States of America. Now it's the opposite. And I don't get it. There's actually people in this country. You live in this country and you're against everything that is common sense in this country. You shouldn't even be here then. Leave, go someplace else, like I say. See how it is in other countries. We have a constitution and our amendment rights in this country. Read your Declaration of Independence. Read this stuff. You'll see the freedoms we have, and we're slowly losing them because of the Democratic administration. They're trying to take your freedoms away from you more and more. Just like what you have right here. This cell phone right here. They're tracking and censoring every single thing you say and do and where you go. 24 hours a day. Whose idea was it for that to happen? Oh, of course. The Democratic administration. Taking your freedoms away from you. Who's going after our Second Amendment rights and pushing red flag gun laws? Democratic administration. Why? Are they afraid that we're going to overthrow this government? And that's getting closer and closer each day. Is there going to be a revolutionary war in this country? Well, maybe, because that's even, like I stated, it's getting closer and closer each day. So watch what you wish for. I wish there was more American patriots in this country that believe in your freedoms, believe in your rights, believe in law enforcement. And I'm hoping you will learn a little something from this if you read the Declaration of Independence. if you read your constitutional rights and your amendment rights. Because a lot of you probably don't even know what it says. You probably never read it. And you're thinking all this stuff that's going on is good. No, it's not so good. This country has gone down the shitter a lot more than what it did when I was young. And when I was a teenager or in my 20s, we had real freedom back then. Today, you got no freedom. You think you got freedom? No, you ain't got freedom. How can you have freedom when they're censoring everything you say, do, and track everywhere you go, what you spend, everything? You have no freedom at all. But if you don't fight for it, you're going to keep losing what we do have. On that note, everyone, I'm going to take off now. I've said enough for tonight. Like I say, once again, please subscribe, like, and share. There's a couple other things I want to mention real quick that just came to mind. And you still see a lot of this stuff going on with this Charlie Kirk unalived ordeal. Erica Kirk is not who you think she is. She's putting on a facade. Nobody holds no grief for their husband and children. And she's doing a good job to make it look like, oh, she's not even bothered by it. How can you not be bothered by the death of your husband and your children's father? Of course, you're probably not going to hear much from our government about that because it's all one big cover up. And it'll be like the John F. Kennedy files, where you're not going to hear anything about this until about 75 years from now. Shit, I'll be long gone by now, and by that time, because I don't think I'm going to live to be 140 years old. But I wanted to throw that out there. There's a lot of things going on that everybody should be paying attention to. Don't believe what these, well, I should say, don't believe what this Democratic administration is pushing on these fake news channels. Be smart. Prepare. Be safe. And I'll see you all in a few days or next week, whenever something interesting comes up. Let's all pray that this Democratic administration comes to their senses and votes the clean bill into effect so we can open this government back up, and so that the people of this country, 42 million plus, can get their SNAP benefits. Even though they may be delayed, you'd still get them. And the Section 8 housing would be paid for so more people will not become homeless. All right, everyone. Take care. Have yourself a good night. And God bless you all. Like I say, all we can do is pray for better things. And may the good Lord provide for us. Take care, everyone. This is Tony D with American Freedom Fighters. Have a good night. Take care. Goodbye.